There we are. We are now recording from now.
There we go. Okay, so we just wanted to give you a little bit of information about Hooke Court and the residential that we take part in. So next year is when we are planning to take your current children who will be in year 4 to Hooke Court, and it's booked for Wednesday the 15th of March to Friday the 17th of March. So if you think that you are interested, that's a good date for your diary, so next year. So I know this meeting is really far in advance, but it does take a long time to kind of plan these kind of events, so it's really helpful for you to have as much information to make a decision about whether you want your child to go as soon as possible. So we've just put a presentation together to share some ideas, and we'll let you know some things that we got up to when we went away. So this front cover, so this here is Hooke Court. This is the learning building. So this is part of, when you come up to driveway, this is part of the learning building. And in the background here, and you'll see this in another slide, this is kind of like where the children stay. So it kind of gives you an idea of where we're at. It's very open countryside, isn't it?
Yeah.
So some of you might not have heard of Hooke Court before. It's about 90 minutes away. So we've got a Google map here. I've just done a little screenshot. So it's just north of Dorchester. And this is kind of the route that we'll take. So it's mainly along the main roads. Do you think it took about 90 minutes to get there?
It did. It took exactly an hour and a half to get there. And on the very last day, we get to go down to the beach from there as well on the way home. So they have a lovely time.
Okay, so we'll be travelling by coach, probably 2 coaches. Hopefully now all the COVID restrictions by that point will be lifted and we can just go down in 2 coaches. So that will be lovely for the children to kind of have a nice, easy journey down to Hooke Court. And then, like I said, this is what it looks like. So here's the main gate. It's quite grand. It's very exciting inside. There's lots of different rooms that are used for like different eras. So they're all kind of decorated in a different way. So it's quite exciting for the children to see. And then in the background at the bottom, you can see down here, this is kind of like the residential building. So this is where the children will sleep when they get to stay. Would you like to talk a little bit more about team building? Yeah.
So there's some team building activities that the children do. They're led by the staff there, and the staff run it really, really nicely. We're of course with the children all the time. This is an activity, the first one that you can see is an activity where they're all trying to get their team members across without touching the floor. And then the bottom activity that you can see, they're actually using drain pipes. It was really fun. It was really funny to watch the children. They were having to get various tennis balls from one end of a particular area to another end using only the drain pipes to touch them with. They did it in so many different ways and they had such a laugh and such a lovely time.
Okay. And then orienteering. So the children did this when they first got to Hooke Court. So before they even see their rooms, see where they're eating, they get straight involved into their activities, and orienteering is one of the first activities they do alongside the team building.
This is actually the favourite for a lot of the children because they keep going and finding things, running back, finding things, running back, finding things, running back. I think it was one of the only times I sat down for the whole residential because I had so many children running up to me. So they loved it. They absolutely loved this activity. And it gave them a bit of free rein because they could run around more of the grounds and find out things for themselves.
A little bit like a nice open space. Like we said, it's kind of right in the middle of the countryside, so a really different experience, but nice for the children to be able to get stuck in and run around and have lots of space to run around in. The low ropes, did you want to talk a little bit about low ropes?
So the low rope activity, it was amazing how the children worked together. So the team leaders there, the instructors, they basically run it. The children have to ensure that they're all helping each other, working as a team. They loved this activity. Some of them were harder than others. This bit here, it's not as high as it is, a bit higher around the back. They had such a lovely time and the children did work really well as a team on this activity. I think we spent about an hour on it per group, and the instructors were really proud of how they'd worked together as a team. That's what our school are really good for. So I was really, really proud of the children.
And I think it's nice that the children get that opportunity to work and have a bit of a different experience and use their team building skills and kind of come together. We generally went around as classes, didn't we? So they can go around as a class and kind of spend their time in a slightly different way, which is really nice. This was one of the most popular days. So this was the second day. So we've booked a World War II experience. So the children, we've got some kind of stock photos here from the Hooke Court website. They get to experience an air raid shelter. They get to experience bomb drop thingy, picking up things,
putting a fire out with water. Not a real fan. And
they get to do some World War II cooking in a kind of like a 1930s kitchen. So you can see here some of our children are eating the jam tarts that they made, which is really exciting. And then at the end of that day, if you look at this picture here, you can see there's a person here dressed in uniform because they have a big VE Day party. So it's a really nice way for the children to kind of pull together their learning. And obviously they're learning lots about the World War II experience, but in a more kind of relaxed and fun and active kind of way. So yes, that was a popular one, wasn't it?
It was really popular. And if you can see on the top right photo, I think it'll be on your screen, the man leading there, he was one of the instructors that was helping us to lead the day. He was so wonderful with the children, and you can see as well in the big banquet, it was quite a formal banquet. The children had to wait till everybody had sat down, everybody had got their dinner. We had to sit on a different table. It was really special. And then, of course, when they were having all their treats that they'd made, they made jam tarts, but completely from scratch. They also made little carrot cakes as well. And they made scones. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and really then nice. You can see them all there in an air raid shelter. The man running that was, he tried to make it sound. So he made the sounds and he had a little radio and they were singing, we were singing inside and trying to distract one another. And for some of the children, that was their favourite part, was just trying to relive what it might have been like. So
those first-hand kind of hands-on experiences, I think. So on the way back, Mrs. Talbot mentioned it earlier, we get to visit the beach and we go to a place called West Bay. So it's recommended by Hooke Court. When we booked for the first time last year, they said, if you're going to go back via a beach, go back via West Bay. It's kind of gravelly, pebbly, isn't it? It's
not a sandcastle.
Not a sandcastle kind of beach, but I mean, look at the pictures speak for themselves, really. It's such an experience for the children, especially if they've never had the opportunity to go to the beach or have spent a lot of time in the city, just to go to somewhere and see. It's led by the instructors.
Do you want me to fill you in on that?
Yeah.
So at the beach, the instructors are leading it. We're all with the children. Obviously, we've got them quite close knit to us because it is a harbour there as well. And we walk the children along the beach a little bit. We don't generally stay on the beach for very long. And then we take them around the harbour, and the instructors tend to know all of the local people. So they were chatting to some of the fishermen that were there. And then we walked right up onto the cliff, actually. And cliffs and children and water, you might think, but actually it felt really safe. The children were really sensible and it was just lovely. Then we come back down, we eat our lunch, and basically we're so tired by the end of that, it's time to come home. So we do try to come home by about the end of the school day on the Wednesday-ish. Oh, it'll be the Friday.
It'll be the Friday.
Sorry,
yes,
it'll be the Friday because we go on the Wednesday.
Yes, so a nice couple of days for the children to recover and have a nice sleep afterwards. So we're returning by coach on the Friday. So completely back to the way we've come. This year they were picked up from Hooke Court and taken to the beach, and then the coach then brought them back to school after they'd finished their activities.
And so we had a packed lunch at the beach made by the centre.
Yeah. So we'll obviously give you extra details and stuff nearer the time, but it's just to give you a general kind of vibe and feel about where we're at. Here are some of our children staying last year. So they'll be sleeping in dorm rooms. I'm just going to minimise myself there. And these kind of sleep a variety of children. Some have like enough for 2 to sleep. There's a room that's big enough for 10 to sleep, although we didn't fill that this year, did we? And there's the opportunity for children to share with their friends. They are asked to make their own beds, but we'll talk about that nearer the time. So if you want to get practicing, there's an experience for them to join in, but you can just tell by their faces, like this is when they first got there, I think, and they really enjoyed it. And even now, my class still talk about how fun it was to share with all their friends and things like that. Okay. The food. Now, this is one of our most popular questions from last year. And as it was the first time we'd been last year, we weren't too sure. But this year, we can confirm some of the meals. So you can see in the pictures here. So the bottom picture down here is some of our year 4 children. So there's a kind of a pasta option, isn't there, on the first night. And you can see here that we've got pasta with homemade tomato vegetable sauce. And then on the VE day night, they kind of had like a roast. It was like kind of sausages. So fairly kind of child-friendly food. Nothing too major or too kind of unfamiliar to them. And there was pudding as well, wasn't there?
Yes. We had a lot of children this year trying new foods that they hadn't tried at home. There's no pressure for them, and we all ate together. So all of us would have breakfast. We were ready by 7:30 for breakfast, and we all had breakfast, lunch and dinner together. We do have, if the weather's nice, we have a picnic lunch outside, and that worked really, really well. So they do get fed really nicely.
Also, I popped down here, I feel like that if you have a child who's got a special diet or has dietary requirements or certain things they can't eat, allergies, things like that, that's all catered for. So when we send out medical forms, as long as you pop something on there, then Hooke Court are really good at making sure that people have got things that they can eat and are happy with in that kind of sense. Okay, so I asked my class this afternoon what they loved about Hooke Court. So I just thought it'd be really nice to share with you some kind of testimonials, of them. So I'm just going to move myself out of the way. So they said, I think Hooke Court was fun because we got to do lots of fun activities. I got to explore new things and find out what I could do. So one of my girls said, I did things that I didn't even know I was capable of, which I think was a really nice thing to say. She said, I didn't even know I could do some of the things I did. And then testimonial for the sleeping situation. It was fantastic because the bunk beds were cool when you shared a room with your friends. And that's really exciting, isn't it? When you get to go away, share a room, giggle into the night, keep teached up, and do lots of things like that. So that's just a little bit of information. In a moment, I will answer some questions, obviously general questions for the moment. If there's things to do with like kit lists and things like that, we're going to kind of give you all that information further on. But I believe either we're sending out a Google link, or I think Mrs. Loftus might have already sent you one, but we're going to put all of those questions together into a frequently asked questions list and send them out to you, just so that you can make your decision about whether your child wants to come or not. We had 80 out of 90 children go this year, so it was really, really popular. Generally the alternative is if they don't go, they do stay in school, they have a work pack to do, and they'll be sitting in another classroom. So obviously it's completely up to you, but we did have a high uptake of people going this year, which was exciting. So before I answer any questions, in case you have any, I just want to say that over the next few days, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm going to talk to Mrs. Maybe tomorrow. We want to send you out the initial letter and get that deposit live on ScoPay so that you can pay the £50 deposit. Obviously, if you've got any worries about paying that, please do come and talk to the office. Talk to Mrs. Loftus, talk to us. It's absolutely fine. We had some children this year who were worried that they couldn't go, but we do take all the children, so don't worry at all. Have a look at the website. The Hooke Court Residential Centre website is absolutely amazing. It is full of so much information. We felt when we went for the first time last year that we kind of knew it really well because we looked at the website and obviously pre-visited. So do look at that. I would really recommend it. And there's lots of lovely videos on there that you can share with your children as well. And then if you've got any questions, just put them on the Google form. So if I stop my share, is there anybody who's got any urgent questions? Oh, total cost. So at the moment, so last year, the total cost was £177. That's, I believe that the actual cost of Hooke Court at the moment is about £163, but obviously we have to factor in the cost of a coach. So I'm going to say approximately £177, but obviously if the coach companies put their prices up a little bit, it might be a smidgen more, but generally around that mark. Lovely. Oh, some more chat. Any other questions? Anyone want to pop up or type anything in the chat? If not, we've sent out the form and you can pop your questions on there, but we hope that your children are excited for coming. Yeah. Share the PowerPoint. Have a look on the website and get signed up when we send out that initial letter, which fingers crossed will be this week, so that you can have a chat with people at home and make your decision. But honestly, residentials are such a great experience for the children.
They're very safe. It's a nice way for them. They feel, being at Foundry Lane in their little classes, they feel quite part of the family anyway. And then when they go away, they've got all of us, they've got all of their friends. It's a good way of them to practice going away from home. It's very, very safe. The other thing that I think is really lovely is that we get to meet the children in a different way. We're not being the same as we are having to be at school all the time, teaching all day. We can be ourselves more and get to know them and put them to bed and all that kind of thing. So they do get to know us really well, and they gel as a class. They make new friends. They mix with other people that they don't normally mix with. So it's a really good opportunity for the children, and it does feel really nice, and it feels like a family when we're away. Everyone looks after everyone else. I think the first night we put children to bed and looked after them till probably at about 11, half 11. They woke me up at 2. I had us up again at 6. And then, or maybe earlier than that. And then by the second night, they're so tired. I think they were all asleep at 9:30. So they have a lovely time, and we do phone you if we're worried about the children. So, you know, we are there on the phone.
Yeah. So Google form, I'll make sure that's gone out. I'll send a letter out. But if there aren't any other questions, thank you so much for taking time out of your afternoon.
Shall I answer that one? There's a question that's just come in that says, for children who cannot go, will they stay with a familiar Year 4 teacher? Because this person is concerned that they'd be left in an unfamiliar class with potentially older children, which wouldn't be nice for them. Okay, it's most likely that all the Year 4 teachers would go away on the residential, because it's most likely that a lot of children will want to go, and that it's better that we are there for them, especially overnight. You probably want their class teachers there, etc.
The children who did stay behind
had a lovely time.
Really lovely time. So I think I had 5 children in my class who stayed behind, and they didn't want to come back. They had such a lovely time with all the other teachers, and some of them got to have a try at some Year 5 work, some Year 6 work, and they really did have a really lovely time. So I can understand the concern. But as a school, our community is so well known that it's all children who
that's good.
Yes, all children will know adults and are familiar to them anyway. And if you do have a concern about your child, then we can make sure that they know who they're going to prior to the trip anyway. One-to-ones, yes, all one-to-ones will go with an adult. Hooke Court are brilliant to make sure that they are included. So if your child has a one-to-one, then they will have an adult who kind of will be with them. But yeah, it's very exciting. I'm kind of a bit, you know, we might not get to go, but
who knows?
Who knows? But it is really, really good. So when they come up to Year 4, it's something really exciting for them to look forward to. But yes, fill in those the Google Docs, the form thingy for your questions. But thank you very much for joining us this evening. But any other questions, just get in contact and we can help out. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.